Oh my goodness, his flight leathers are something special.
But with that being said, who doesn't want to be banging somebody and shooting off lightning outside? I mean, that's pretty freaking cool. Lightning sex.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 23 of the podcast. We got a really special one for you guys. First off, we're going to be diving into a very, very, very popular book, and we will talk about that in a little bit. But first off, I want to introduce the wives, the ladies that keep the guys rolling. I'm going to start over there on the far end of the couch. Can you introduce yourself? Tell us what you do and why you do it.
No introductory, but I am Danielle, Taylor's wife.
Yep.
And I read books.
There we go. How many books did you read last year?
Oh, I don't remember.
But
anymore.
why do you do it?
120? I don't know.
Yeah, way too many. And sitting in the middle today, who do we have over there?
This is Sam. I'm Matt's wife.
Ooh.
And I think I read around 50 last year.
Ooh,
So I
okay.
also read books. And why do I do it? Because it's great.
Matt, we miss you. But this might be our highest viewed podcast.
Oh,
so
definitely.
we'll see what happens.
Like I said, people have been begging for the wives.
Begging. Like
Begging,
absolutely
probably.
begging. And then the individual sitting on the far left tonight is...
Michaela, Trevor's wife.
Ooh,
I only read 26 books,
That's
but
okay.
I enjoyed every single one of
that's
them.
okay. You guys crushed it. You guys absolutely crushed it with the books. So if you haven't picked up, we are going to be diving into a very popular book series called Fourth Wing. Ooh. Drum roll, please. Good old Rebecca Yarros and the extremely popular Fourth Wing series. I don't know how in the world the ladies did it, but convinced Trevor and I to read this book. And let me tell you, it's an absolute banger of a book. It's really good. So, we are going to talk about book 1 today. We're going to have a 3-part series of the podcast. Today is going to be all about book 1, and then we're just going to take it from there.
But one of us has been slacking.
One of us has been slacking, and that is yours truly, the host of tonight's podcast. I am currently halfway through book 2.
Boo.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, guys. But there are going to be spoilers talked about, so if you are an absolute Fourth Wing fanatic and you're all about Xaden and his shadows doing weird things to people, take it away, ladies. I'm gonna hand it over to you a little bit. I want to hear about the book. What drew you to the book? Like, why is it exciting? What's so good about Fourth Wing?
Don't all speak at once.
I think Sam's going to give a bit of a summary.
All right, fine. I'll give a little bit of a summary.
Love
So, for those of you that don't know, this is a fantasy book. It is set in some other world. And,
I've never read a fantasy book in my life.
yeah, well, this is your time. This
Oh, it is
the
my time
book.
because it is great.
This is great. So they're going to college, and they're figuring out which realm that they want to be. There's scribes, there's infantry, there's healers, and then there's riders, and the riders ride dragons. And that is what this book is about, is figuring out if the main character, Violet, can become a dragon rider. So she has to go through lots of peril. So she is crossing the parapet in the storm. She is climbing the gauntlet. And
What's a
she
parapet? Parapet. Isn't it just like a
I
huge
actually had to
bridge that's
describe
really,
that to him
really...
when he was reading.
Yeah, like a big bridge, but
Just-
it's super skinny and you
Like
can
Yeah.
fall off and die.
It's like a high
just
stakes
for our
balance
just
beam.
for our
Yeah.
viewers who might not read Fourth Wing, but they're going to read it vicariously through us. The
Okay,
parapet
perfect.
is a rock bridge that is extremely high over what? The 2 towns that connect to each other?
Water.
Water.
Oh, it's water.
Forest.
Yeah, if you fall in, you're dead.
Things
Gotcha.
to
In the
kill you
water.
at the bottom. And then she climbs the gauntlet, which I will explain. So the gauntlet is pretty much like a big, scary booby trap, and you have to try to get to the top. There's all these little things that you have to do to try to
Boobies.
knock down. If any of you watch The Witcher, they practice those things when they're teaching Ciri how to become a Witcher.
Which is another great series. Good pull, by the
Yeah,
way. Nice
good
job,
pull.
Sam.
Oh. Well, apparently the gauntlet's supposed to be teaching you how to get on and off your dragon. That's it.
Yeah, well, it seems like
Much
more
harder
than
than
that. So anyway, she does make it to the top, And then she is bonding with dragons. So once you make it to the end of your first year at this college, then you hopefully bond a dragon. And if you do, you are a dragon rider. Thankfully, Violet does. And we did tell you there'd be spoilers. She bonds 2 dragons. Ooh. Big spoiler.
She bonds a little one and a big one, right?
A little one and a big one. A
The
baby one and
biggest
a
one.
big adult one. Old grandpa one.
Isn't he the
Second.
biggest one, or is he the second biggest?
one.
It's that seer guy,
Well,
whatever his name is.
What-
Second biggest.
Who's the first
Black
biggest?
dragon, right?
But I think black are the biggest. Just
Okay,
in general.
Coda's the biggest.
Yeah, black is the biggest. I knew that, but I didn't know
The guy
if
that
he
can
was
see
the
the
biggest.
outcome of battles.
Oh yeah. You're right. I love it. I think we dive in right from there. Like, you gave a great background of the book, or the intro of the book, and it's about dragons, it's about riders, it's about quadrants, it's about steamy, hot love that is described in just absolute crazy ways in a fantasy book that I never thought was real, but it is.
I think so.
Yep, you can say it louder if you want.
Better whispered.
So let's do this. We're going to jump right into Violet. Violet's the main character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Do you think Violet could have had a bigger impact on the revolution as a scribe or a writer? And I'll say something real quick. So going into this school, she was going to be a scribe, correct?
Well,
Like,
she wanted to be.
wanted-
She wanted, because her dad was a scribe, right?
And she
So-
was trained
Because
as
she's
a
really
scribe.
smart.
She was
She's
trained
been
as a
trained
scribe.
since she was 0 years old as a scribe.
Spoiler, friends. She's a dragon rider, and she has 2 badass dragons. So let's take it from there. What do you think, ladies?
I feel like she probably could have had a bigger impact as a scribe, but she would have definitely died. Like, almost immediately.
But
would have been a very short book.
scribes don't do anything. How would she
Well,
have
yeah,
died?
but she would have found out the truth, like, instantly.
Oh, yeah.
She would have asked somebody about those fables, and then they would have offed her. And she would not have any defense, because she wouldn't know how to fight. So, I guess her mom did her a favor by kicking her in the butt and telling her that she's either going to cross the parapet or die.
I think she is right now a rider with a scribe's knowledge. I don't know if that's an option, but I feel like that's her best. You know, she's a rider, but she has all that background training as a scribe. So she's a rider with all of this baseline knowledge about everything. So that's probably why she is such a threat now.
True.
Because she's both.
And they do bring that up in the book a lot, and she does reference back to her scribe days of, like, memorizing all that stuff, especially when she's trying to channel her signet and all that stuff. So we can dive into that a little bit later. What do you think, Michaela?
I think she would be a bigger impact as a writer. Kind of agree with Sam with her scribe knowledge that is beneficial to her. And then if she wouldn't have been a writer, then Tarn and Darna wouldn't have bonded.
She really might have bonded to somebody else. I just feel like she's, like, a really bad writer. Like, she's not good at it.
Well, she's tiny. She can't hold on
Yeah,
to big
so,
dragons.
like, what if she just
And all
had,
her
like,
joints fall
Xaden fall in love with her and she was still a scribe and she'd be like, you go do those things that I'm really struggling with.
But
You
then
know who
you're
she
right,
re-
she still wouldn't be able to fight.
It's true. She would have died.
You know who she reminds me of? Frodo in Lord of the Rings.
That's too accurate.
Always
Samwise has to carry her everywhere.
Xaden is Samwise,
Yeah, there you go.
and she's Frodo, always getting into trouble. Ladies, we'll get into it later, but it's great.
Just tell Matt that you're Xaden.
Yeah, Matt does call me Samwise.
Ooh. Is it-
Samwise, Gamgee of the Shire.
Then yeah, you're Xaden. Ooh.
Ooh,
Wild.
la la, this is why I'm here.
Can someone get into Violet's mom's past and, like, where does she stand in the book?
Well, in the first book, she's kind of a giant bee. Beep. Beep.
Yeah, she is.
So she controls the weather, and you come to find out she's, like, one of the most powerful weather controllers. And I guess it's pretty indicated that she's powerful because she's so, like, high up into the school. But I don't know. My first time that I read this book, because I've read it twice, was like, okay, if she's so powerful at the weather, why would she make it rain while they're crossing the parapet? Like, why wouldn't she just not try to kill her daughter with rain and slipping off the parapet? I don't know. It's like, why would she do that?
But that early in the book, like, she's not trying to show love. Like, she's, like, kind of standoffish to Violet. Like, doesn't want anything to do with her kind of thing. Doesn't she?
That's how she comes across.
That's how she comes across. That's what I mean. So it's like she doesn't want to show favoritism to anyone, I would think.
But you also don't know that that's her signet
Yeah.
at the beginning.
Well,
That is
yeah,
true,
and
you
also you could stop the rain before it even rolled in. Nobody would know.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Or did she cause the rain?
I think
Yeah, did she
caused
cause it?
And I think she wanted to show Violet that she could do it and get across the parapet.
It could either be that or she was trying to kill her daughter.
Yeah, could be,
What do
could
you-
be either.
What
Hard
do you-
to say, especially in book 1. Stay tuned for parts 2 and 3.
What do you guys think?
I don't think she was trying to kill her, but I do think she started the rain.
Well, she almost seemed like she was like, well, you might die.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So you have no training. Good luck.
It's so long ago now. I can't remember when I
Well,
finished
I
that
also-
book.
I
And
also
I
you
don't
guys,
think she
wonder
starts
if-
the rain.
no?
No.
Did she, like, secretly tell Mira to give her the shoes and, like, I don't know,
Who knows?
check her bag or whatever?
Well, her mom intentionally tries to stay out of the way of everything so that she doesn't seem like she's involved. So
Yeah.
I don't think she starts the rain. I think she just won't fix it.
Yeah, that's maybe right.
I thought it said it was like a clear day, and then like it just kind
It's
of.
called
It
bad
got
luck.
Cloudy, yeah.
Yeah. Bad luck. Oh no, Violet's crossing. Oh no.
Remember clear days do rain, guys. Sam, you know.
I know. They do.
Ouch.
R.I.P. to my roof.
Oh.
My
And
house.
Yes. Legit.
Oh,
Everything.
yikes.
It must have been Violet's mom that day. That bitch.
Might have been. Okay, so we were talking about signets, and why don't we describe what a signet is? Does every writer have one? Like, what are they, and how do they come across in the books?
So signets are like kind of like powers. So you, after you bond your dragon, after you have some training, eventually you will have a signet. There's lots of different ones that people can have, varying from all kinds of different powers that we see in the first book. But do all writers have them? That's a tricky question, because if they don't have one in a certain amount of time, then they die.
They, like, explode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they end up having power built up, and then if they don't release the power, then they die. So I think all living writers have one. And it just varies person to person of what that actually is and when they actually will show their signet. But it seems like it has to be by the end of the first year, based on the way that she writes the book.
What's your favorite signet, Sam?
My favorite one?
Yep.
Well, I have some things I want to share.
Let's
So-
hear it. Oh, yes.
Come on. Get out that notepad. Let's do this.
The one that I think I would want the most, personally, would be like Xaden to have shadows. Because then you can sneak up on people, and I love sneaking up on people,
Oh my
especially
gosh.
Matt.
You scare him?
And I love scaring him so much.
No wonder he's
This, like, explains so
Yeah, I
much
was
about
gonna
him.
say.
I would sneak up on him all the time if that were my signet. But obviously that's not that cool. I wouldn't probably use it to try to hurt people. But I would use it to sneak up on people and scare them. But with that being said, who doesn't want to be banging somebody and shooting off lightning outside? I mean, that's pretty freaking cool.
Lightning sex.
Lightning sex.
People who don't want to burn their house down.
I'm gonna
Well,
jump.
mine's already gone.
I'm gonna jump ahead here real quick. That scene, was that the scene where we were going out to dinner and then like we stayed in the car
Oh my
because
gosh,
I didn't
it
know it
so
was coming?
funny. I ended up texting Lauren, one of our friends, and I was like, he has no idea what scene is about to pop up right now. And she's like, please give me a play-by-play. And it was like,
It was a
his
20.
first thing he said goes, I don't think I should be listening to this with you in the car.
It
And then
was-
he goes, a shaft? Is that what we're calling it these days?
No, it was length.
Oh, lame.
It was length. It was a 20-minute scene. And guys, I'm listening to the books. I'm an extremely slow reader. I listen instead of read because I'm in the car so much. And I have the dramatized versions. So picture that.
Oh my gosh, it like breathes.
Oh.
It moaning into the,
It was
like, that you can, you hear the,
It,
Did
when-
you hear the lightning going on?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
when they
thunder.
say
Well,
graphic
thunder.
novel,
Oh.
it was a graphic novel. But that's where the lightning sex
honestly,
and everything's
some of the
coming from,
sounds
people.
in that audio is like super weird. Like in the beginning of the book, right off the bat, she's like going up the stairs, and instead of just like, oh, she's going up the stairs, it'll be like,
Yeah.
because she's like walking up the stairs
Yeah.
and lugging her big old bag. I'm like, this is just weird to listen to.
Danielle, favorite signet?
That's in the book.
Yeah.
As opposed to.
I was gonna say you can make up your own.
In real life, which signet?
Oh.
Let's see. I think I like. Honestly, I really like Dane's. I think that's pretty nifty.
What is his again?
If he touches somebody, you can
Oh,
see their
he's the
recent
mind.
memories.
Yeah, he's the memory reader.
Honestly, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
People don't like him. But
Okay. Also, was he being trained by Varish?
No.
No.
Varys didn't come in until book 2,
Varish was the guy.
right?
Really? No, Varish
Yeah.
was in the end of book 1, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, never
his
mind.
dad is
That is
violent.
spoilers.
Yeah.
That is
Next
on the next
episode.
podcast. Next episode of the podcast.
So Dane's dad is Violet's mom's right hand.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you're right.
General
And they,
Ados.
Yeah.
and they knew each other
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my signet, and Taylor's gonna agree, would either be some sort of mind reader, or to be able to look at an object or a person or a scenario and just like know exactly what's going on, and like, so for example, like if you look at an object, you know like who touched it last or whatever, like what importance it has to your life, or if you like looked at a person, you knew what they were thinking, or if you looked at like a scenario, you know how it played out.
You would want to know all that?
Yeah.
I like the element of
But
surprise.
don't you think that would
So
be
you're
like
a
the one
psychic.
for me, because like all I
Yes.
do is like crave knowledge?
Yes,
No.
I would agree with
I have a
you.
different one for you.
Okay, what would it be?
It's about the same kind of topic.
What would it
gaining
be?
knowledge. Your signet would be that you could read an entire book just by touching it.
Ooh, how many books would I have finished? A million? All of them.
A million.
I go down the
There'd
library.
be no
and
more.
Gosh, that would be so nice for this book I'm currently reading. I've been reading it for... Tomorrow will be 14 days.
That's a very
2
long
weeks.
time for her.
I don't think I've ever taken two weeks to finish a book. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's just... It's like Bible-sized print. Like, it is so
And
little.
how many pages?
Oh, 700?
Oof.
Yeah.
So it's actually like 1,400 pages.
Yeah, it's like 1,000 million bajillion.
All right, Michaela.
Yeah, what's your
Tell us about your signet.
Well, I think the coolest one in the book, or that I'd maybe want, is Garrick's, but I don't need to say what his is because I don't remember when it comes out.
Oh, his-
It's not in the
one.
first book.
It's not in the first. Is it?
Is it this one?
Is it halfway through book 2?
That's 3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Don't say that then. Michaela's already
We'll
trying
talk
to
about that
spoil
later.
things for me.
But it'd be pretty cool.
No, man, I need to read. I need
Ooh,
to
now you'll have to listen to
faster.
all
Yeah.
3 episodes to find out her favorite signet.
Oh, look at you,
We'll have to
Michaela.
bring that
just
back
leaving
around.
a
Michaela, what
cliffhanger.
would you have, do you think?
I don't know. I couldn't
Because it like
think-
reflects who you are to the core. What's your core?
Yeah, that was too hard for me to think about. But for you guys both, I thought maybe like, because you're both doctors, like it could be menders or like, I don't know how you say it, in whatever they are, like the mind.
Intrinsic?
Healers.
In
Yeah.
some type of
Yeah.
way, like it could be a different way.
Or like
just
touch
'cause-
people and be like, I know what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be really nice.
That
And
would be
people are like, what's wrong with me? I
amazing.
was like, I don't know. Do you want me to cut you open and check?
I feel like I would touch people and there'd be nothing.
You have nothing
Sorry,
going
nothing.
on.
That's just the way it is.
The way the cookie crumbles.
If you were to pick one person in the group, and Sam already did it with Danielle, what would? Well, I guess Trevor, what would your signet be? Which one do you like the most?
I like the shadow one the most, but it's not for the reasons. I'm not trying to sneak
Not
up
for
on
Sam's
people.
reasons.
It's just really powerful.
The shadow ones are pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie, I like the lightning
Could
thing.
never get under control. The lightning would be really cool, but she's terrible at it.
Hey, I'm in book 2 right
She's
now,
not
and
a
she's
great
working
writer.
on it. She's working on it.
Not really good at it.
Terrible.
That is true. She needs a lot of work. If you had to pick one signet for someone else, what would it
Taylor,
be?
what's your favorite signet?
Lightning. I like the lightning one. Yeah, just out of the fingertips, like
But it's
Emperor-
not like
Emperor
that, remember?
Palpatine.
It's like a full-on, just somewhere out there, it'll hit.
well, hey
He's the one who could clone themselves. That one's really cool too.
Quinn.
Quinn.
Oh, yeah.
guys, book 2, halfway through. She's working on it. Give her time. Come
With
on.
the lightning?
Yeah,
We've given her time. We've read more
Yeah.
books than you.
I know you have. We'll talk about lightning on other episodes.
Okay.
You know what? Also, it's cool. retrieving things through doors.
Oh, Rhiannon's, right?
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Although I would be the laziest human in the whole world. Like, I need another
That
glass
is
of
true.
wine.
Imagine
right
if
to the
you
ceiling.
imagine if you needed another hams. Not a sponsor, but definitely could be. Also, Zool, Knoxville, Tennessee. Your PB&J beer is amazing. Not a sponsor, but could be. What are you drinking over there, Sam?
I am drinking local wine
Local from
from Salem Glen.
Salem Glen. Not a sponsor, but hey, ladies. But it could be.
And they're local. We could go chat with them.
Gosh,
face
they
to face.
should be. I drink their wine every day almost, it feels.
Imagine if we had a podcast there and they just fed us wine. You ladies would never leave.
Then we'd be in the ocean. Ha!
Yeah, I was wondering if you got to that episode yet.
That's the one I'm on.
I don't get it. I don't.
Listen to the podcast if you don't understand.
I'm not caught up.
Me neither.
What did they say to
They were
us?
talking about dry January and how the levels are for how much drinking you do.
That is an absolutely
One was
dedicated
drowning.
fan right there. I'm so proud of you, Sam. Matt
Wait,
would be
I'm
too.
not caught up. What were the levels?
Oh, I don't
you
remember
need-
all of them. There's
It was
like,
a 20-minute conversation about
yeah,
levels.
You
You need to
Episode
listen to
21,
it.
I think.
Yeah, it
Oh
was.
my
Beginning of
gosh.
episode 21, they talk about all the levels. If you're in the ocean, you might as well just check yourself into rehab now. That's all I'm saying. And that's where we're going to be if Salem Glen wants to sponsor us. Thank
Yes.
you, Salem Glen.
But we're in. We're in.
Let's go to dragons because there's a ton of dragon
Yeah, but,
lore stuff.
Trying to think of one for Michaela.
I have one for Michaela.
Oh, you do?
Oh,
Okay.
go, yeah.
Yep. So this isn't like her at her core, but this made me giggle when I thought of it. So this is the one that I have for Michaela.
Oh,
She has supersonic hearing. She can hear everything, and the reason being because Trevor whispers all the time.
Okay, I have a good one, and she's gonna agree with me for sure. It's gonna be something to do with
You have anything to
animals,
say about that,
and
Trevor?
like she can either talk to them
what I
or
was
they're
gonna say,
just
is talking to
naturally
animals.
super attracted to her. So like if she went to the zoo and
She's
she
gonna
wanted
be
to meet a
Sleep
penguin, it would
or
just
Snow
jump
White.
right out of its cage to come at her and just hang out with her.
That'll be epic.
So you're saying she would be the new Snow White?
No, she would be a Zoolander. What's the guy that like all the animals like him?
Zoolander?
No, Dr. Doolittle.
I'll look at
Wow.
Close enough.
in a
Close
Or
comedy movie.
Cinderella.
Yeah, Cinderella.
I can see Dr.
There is a new
Doolittle.
Snow White movie coming out.
Mhm.
Speaking of Snow White, not a sponsor, Disney, but could be.
Oh,
Dang,
Plus.
Sam, if you pull that off, teach us your
I
ways.
think we're gonna need a few more listeners. Come on, people.
Oh, don't worry. You three will get the listeners.
Oh yeah.
This is going to get
We know.
wild. Lots of dragons in this book.
I'm inside of this couch. Literally inside of this couch.
And honestly, that's one of the other reasons why I kind of picked up this book, because I was like, oh, I can read about dragons and war and stuff like that. So, give me a brief description on. Well, let's just jump straight to it. Andarna, which is a special kind of dragon, and then the two mating pairs, which then tie into Xaden and then tie into Violet. Why everyone's like so intertwined. Andarna.
Sagale
Yep.
and Taryn are mated.
Yep.
Which, okay, that was one of my questions. Are Xaden and Violet, like, mated?
I think so.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have lightning
quotations.
sex.
Words.
Yeah. Like,
I think they have to be, but that's not from
because their
book one.
brains are, like, mated?
They're for sure bonded.
What happens when a rider bonds their dragon?
They get brain connection.
Well, if the rider dies, the dragon dies, and if the dragon dies, the rider dies, right?
No, if the rider dies, the dragon can live. Taryn just has
You're right.
said that he's not
Yep,
going to.
that is a good point.
Harder, the longer, or is it the more riders you have, or whatever? I don't remember
I think
exactly.
The more riders.
The more riders
Or
that-
how connected you are to that
Oh, yeah.
rider, too.
Yeah. But the other way around is true. If the dragon dies, the human dies.
Yep.
Yes.
Liam Sadface.
Liam.
Liam.
Sadface.
Pathic. Is that the right word? Yes.
Yeah, they can
Yeah.
talk to each other's
To their
minds,
minds.
but
Yep.
like other like dragons can talk to other humans too. They just choose not to, and it almost seems like, I mean, you can talk to any dragon you want. They're just probably gonna kill you.
I don't think the dragons can talk to other humans.
Taryn put a picture in everybody's head at one point.
That was to everyone's dragon.
That was to the
And
dragons.
The
dragons-
dragon sent it. to
Oh.
people. Yep.
Got it.
Yeah. So he
gonna
talked
read
to the
this
dragons,
fast.
and the dragons talked to their riders.
Miss things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
So who's Andarna?
And Darna is one of Violet's two dragons. She's
Baby
the baby dragon. And we don't know a lot about her in book 1 other than she is a baby and she needs to grow. And right now she cannot fly or have a rider because
And
she's too small.
She has a
Golden.
crazy
Yep,
And
she's
power.
she
golden.
stops time.
Yeah, that's her power.
Feather tail.
Yes.
Those aren't signets for them, are they? That's just for humans?
Well, that's what I'm like. That's her like power, but it doesn't make sense because why doesn't Taryn? Does Taryn have a power that's not shared with
They
Violet?
mention in the book that only the babies.
Yeah,
Have
so
the
it
power.
mentions that all feather tails have a special power, and that's why feather tails don't bond because they think humans will want to use that power, and so they would just bond feather tails and then steal the power from them, and then I think they die.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I don't think they would die. I think you'd only have the power until the
They'd just be like
dragon
weak
dies or
adults.
grows up, but it'd kill the
There
dragon.
was something about though, like if she used her stopping time, too much of it, something would happen to Andarna.
I think it just got weaker.
She just
right?
got
She
extremely
couldn't do
weak.
it anymore, I thought.
She would die if
I
it was
think she died
overused.
Yeah.
because She overused it.
And I think
Does-
at that point the bond's not strong enough so the human can live on. So that's why they
That's
They
why
could take
humans would
advantage
use
of it. Yeah.
And then if she used it too much, don't they go into that like slumber faster
Well,
and
she
grow up
was-
faster?
she
Or
was,
is that was
like-
just natural?
She was
That-
like bound to go in eventually,
yeah.
and she probably should have before that, but then she was like forced into it, and then got like stuck into it for a long time. Because
3 months. No. Yeah,
Yes, I
3
think it's
months.
book
It
two.
was long.
Yeah.
Too.
That is book 2. We're giving some good deets on book 2. But
Jumping
Did
ahead.
anyone say the big dragon's full name?
Taryn a rock, Taryn a rock.
So no.
I had it down one day. Let me look it up if I can just look at it.
Well, you should describe who that is, how it's in
Violet
relation to
Dragon.
scale or scale, however you say it.
Sadale.
Sugale? Sure.
Sgaeyl. I always thought it was
Rebecca
Zugale.
pronounces it Sagale.
You're
Zugale.
listening to it. You should know how it's pronounced.
Sugale and Tarn are mated.
Yes.
So they're older dragons that have been mated a long time, from what it sounds like. And Sugale is Xaden's dragon that he
Tiernan
bonded. Tiernan.
Taryn
And
I
then-
was
And Darna's their kid, right? Or no?
Yep.
Oh, it's not.
No.
Oh, shit.
It kind
Where
of
have I
infers
been?
that in the first book, and it makes you think that it could be, but it's not.
Spoiler, no.
Spoiler, no. She's a different kind of dragon.
They also thought that she was Koda's.
Huh.
Spoiler, she's not.
Yeah.
Spoiler. She's not.
Oh.
We should have a little ding every time we have gonna say a spoiler. Just
The whole time,
the,
ding,
wi-
ding,
the
ding, ding,
wine
ding.
tinkling.
yeah, exactly. Do you think Sagail had anything to do with bonding to Violet?
I think the dragons. I think in book 4 and 5, we're gonna get like huge insight to like the dragons. Like they have like a master plan. They know everything right now, even stuff that the humans have no idea or refuse to acknowledge. So I think they have like a master plan, which includes Violet, and they might have even known what signet he might have given her. I don't know.
Yeah. Is
There's
that how
probably
many?
prophecies or
Is that how many
something.
books
I
are
don't
coming
know.
out?
Yeah.
Is it going to be 5? Is that already announced?
5.
So we probably
years
still
to
have a lot
catch
of
up.
background dragon lore to learn about, I think.
I heard a quote the other day that was like, this is called the Empyrean series, which means that technically the main characters are the dragons. Like Violet and Xaden aren't even like the main characters. Like,
That's why one of them gets offed in book 3.
the Violet and Xaden
Don't be
series.
smiling over there. I'm not trying to pick up on any spoilers. I haven't read that one, guys. But
What? What'd you say?
I will
The
say
one that's
this.
soft in book 3.
I will say this. Watching all of you guys read it and watching the good old socials, man, people were like, oh my God, something happened and my life is going to end.
Yeah, Michaela said she wouldn't read the book at my parents' house when we were all there because it was the scene where Liam dies.
Oh,
She was like, I
Oh,
was
yeah.
gonna cry.
yeah. Read it twice, cried twice.
Yep.
So far we have badass riders and somewhat of a Frodo, Baggins, and Samwise situations. And then we also have a bunch of dragons, which is awesome. We also have a little smut action. Can someone please dive into the definition of smut for those individuals reading that
Lightning sex.
might not know what that
Lightning
means?
sex.
That's it. That's the definition
No,
of smut.
smut just means that it's not appropriate for anybody who's youngins.
This is definitely an 18 plus book.
It's rated R for adult. I don't know what R is rated for.
Yeah, this is one. Do you think it takes away from the story?
No.
Take away from the story?
Yeah.
Never.
I don't
Well,
think so
I think
either.
this is a question maybe for Trevor because, like, obviously guys aren't as into Smut, but I feel like that got the readership up because there's a whole Smut following, especially these days.
Yeah, especially with you women. I will say this before Trevor talks. It is very well placed. It's not like every single page or every single, like, yes, you can tell she's building. Well, Trevor's like, we'll let you talk in a couple seconds. Yes, there's definitely building of those intense scenes, but it wasn't like, turn the page, there's another lightning sex. There, turn the page, there's another lightning sex. So it was very well placed, in my opinion. Like, it was well written.
I have nothing against having romance in the books, but I don't need 30 pages in a row of describing length.
That is true. That is true.
And we don't need it 6 times throughout the book of 30 pages.
That first scene, I did turn back and I was like, how many pages have I been reading about this scene?
The worst part for me is that it's where I start losing interest. So I'll start reading and then I'll realize I skipped some words and I'm like, oh crap, well now I got to reread this paragraph. So I've read these pages 40 times for 30 pages.
You were just
Sure,
rereading
that's
the
why
same
he's
paragraph
rereading
over
it.
and over again. Oh, I missed that word.
But you
Did they
can't
really describe that as that? Wow. Okay, I missed that word.
Skip those chapters because they sprinkle little extra things in there that are actually important.
Yeah, they do.
This isn't a spoiler, but when I was reading book 3, there was a chapter that I almost just told Trevor, you could probably skip that one.
Go ahead. And don't even read that.
3 pages of it were actually relevant.
I have read way worse books where they're like, you're literally like, when is this going to end and why are we throwing this in? You guys are almost dead and you're like, better
Well,
get it
in
on.
my defense, this is my first time going through something of a romance novel.
Same. So, going off of what you just said, Michaela, and you're not going to spoil anything, was it worse than the first scene in the first book? Because that felt like it dragged on forever. Was that when she was breaking stuff in the room and lightning was flying all over the place?
You can't tell me
Lightning
that that was like unnecessary.
I'm not saying it was unnecessary. Michaela made a good point, though. She said, hey, Trevor, you might not, you can just skip that chapter. Was it longer than that?
I don't know for sure.
Also, how would you feel about like this buildup of does he like her? Does she like him? Are they gonna get together? And then them be like, and then they held hands. Like,
That'd be a big letdown.
that ain't enough.
You can describe it, you just don't need 30 pages to do it.
I don't think it's 30 pages.
It's like repeating
Trevor's like,
things.
chapter 31. They did it. Period. Next chapter.
What
Lady-
about, like, if you think about if you're watching something on TV or movies, they have 30-minute scenes where they're having,
How long?
Remember,
Is,
like-
how long is a porn scene?
But you guys are
Gotta be
also
longer than that.
you guys are reading it as women from the women's point of view. I don't want to hear about how she's describing a man's body.
Yeah, that's true. Would you like it better if it was from Xaden's point of view?
It would probably be better. I haven't read a single chapter like that.
Well, you have.
Not
The
a
last
romantic
chapter.
scene, though.
There's probably the first chapter in book 4 is going to be that. Xaden's
More of these.
Zaden's
to
going to
the
come out.
Yeah, Rebecca Yaros, can you hear that?
Um,
They need it from Xaden's point of view too.
I-
Start a little novella.
I personally
Just
think
that scene.
the book is already pretty like emotional on a bunch of different levels with what's going on. Do you think the smut is needed to add an emotional level to the book, or could the book hold its own without the smut scenes and like that kind of talk? What do you think?
I think you need it, but also I agree with what you said earlier about how she did a good job placing it, and it wasn't overdone. If it was overdone or like more often than it was already written in, I think it could have been way too much.
I have only one complaint. When they're in battle and she's talking about how good looking Xaden is, that she can't focus, it's like, this is life or death. Get your crap together.
Dude, that's not real, right? Like
She
if I was about to
constantly
die,
does
I'd be
that.
like,
I think
why
it's
aren't you
real.
saving me?
She constantly does that. Oh my goodness, his flight leathers are something special.
Exactly.
Please let
This
that
goes
be an
his
intro.
jaw makes me want to drop to my
Happen.
knees.
It's like you're supposed to be wielding lightning at people, and you're over here looking at a guy's ass because he's in flight leathers.
Liam died because she
Okay,
couldn't
Taylor,
focus.
somebody told me that you said the other night at volleyball that you couldn't focus because I was playing on the court next to you, and I was like, that's a joke. I look like I'm like half dead on the floor sometimes.
If you're on the court next to me, I do glance over there and catch a peek once in a while.
Yeah, but if now you were fighting with swords and about to die, would you do the same?
No. And also, if I'm getting volleyballs pummeled at my head by certain people, then no, I'm not looking at you. But there are some nights where I can look over there and say, "Hey, girl, how you doing?"
Well, maybe she felt safe enough in that moment to be like, "Hey, boy, how you doing?"
No one is actively stabbing me,
Well,
so hey.
she might have been safe, but she just let 4 people die, probably.
Yeah, well.
Well, again, she's not good at this rider thing.
I love it.
Not
All
a
right.
great rider.
All
Feels
right.
like she should be a scribe.
So we talked about the riders. We talked about the smut of the book. We've talked about the dragons. Honestly, it's really, really well put together. So let's jump into kind of the quote-unquote bad guys, like the venin and the wyvern and stuff.
Did you just hear my stomach?
No.
I heard that. I thought it was Lulu.
Cut that out if you could hear it, please.
That might be the intro. After
the intro
after I
has to be
talk
what
about
you
flight
just
leathers.
said.
Yeah, the flight leathers
Like,
and then our
very nice.
clink.
Yeah. Dragons riders. We talked about the bonded pairs. We talked about Violet and Xaden. We can get into Xaden a little bit more, but let's jump into venin and let's talk about wyverns. Can someone describe those two things?
So Violet received a book from her dad when she was younger, and it was fables, but it turns out most of it is real, if not all of it. So venin so you're supposed to channel like magic through your dragon, but venin they're the humans, right? Yeah, because why? Okay,
Yeah.
so they're people who channel through the ground, and then the power's like tainted, and so then they get all like addicted to it or crazy and bad. They just turn evil. And then wyverns are their dragons.
Their version of dragons. They're a little different, right?
I
They're not
picture them-
actually a dragon.
Do you picture them as like exactly the same dragon that's in Harry Potter when they go into the vault?
Oh,
That's what I picture them
No.
as, with the raggedy wings and like looks like they've never seen the light of day.
I don't remember if they're described super well.
They're gray.
If anyone's seen the movie Aragon, they look exactly like the dark magic dragons from that.
Well,
That's
yeah.
what I'm guessing.
They do. I've seen it.
Well, aren't like in Game of Thrones, those are all actually wyverns.
Those are wyverns.
They don't have
Unfortunately,
4 legs,
wyverns have
2 legs.
one of their legs is connected to a wing, like the T-Rex.
The T-Rex theory.
There's a theory out there that the T-Rex actually used to be a dragon in real life, and we just think that it looked like its small arms, but really those are part of its wings, and we just can't tell.
I remember when you told me about
believe
that.
full in.
Let's jump back into Xaden. He's got an interesting role with
Jumping a lot.
we are.
We're jumping
That's how
everywhere.
we're jumping. We're jumping. We've all read the
Jump
book.
in, jump there.
Jump on in. Jump on it.
Jump on.
Jump on it. You sing that too long, we'll get copyrighted, so don't
Let's
do that.
get it on.
Jump on it.
All right.
Just a taste stamp.
That's Sam.
sex on her mind.
That's Sam wielding those shadows
That's
in her house.
That's why she wants the shadows. It's because she wants Matt to have that lightning.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Oh my
We'd
goodness.
be like walking over there or something. I'd be like, don't disturb.
Don't open the door if you see the lightning outside.
They would have a couple more kids than they already have, so
Yikes.
yikes. Just explain what's going on with Xaden. Like, he's got different hats he wears in the book. The revolution, the resistance, like, explain that. What's the difference?
So revolution is considered against the leadership.
And who's the
So,
leadership in the book?
Leadership in the book is Violet's mom, and so General Sorengale, and then
Mel-
Captain Ados.
Well, technically, isn't
Melvin.
Coda's
Yep.
Yeah.
thing higher level than them?
Wait,
Coda's human.
Melvin.
Melvin? Yeah, sure.
Yep. He's also
wasn't
leadership.
There's a description. I don't remember when it was. That was like the difference between
Well,
a revolution and
or
a
Melvin
was it
was
There's a
high
quote
resistance?
in the book.
It's like a revolution means that you're trying to change things for the
change.
better. A resistance means you're just trying to fight what exists.
And the resistance was more so like what Xaden's dad was a part of.
Mm-hmm.
But they blamed him for causing a revolution, like saying that he was uprising against the leadership, but when really he was not trying to do that. He was trying to do
Gotcha.
to
The
start
right
a
thing.
resistance and go up against, like you said, what's already there, to fight together. I don't think he was trying to like upstage or go, behind the leadership's back or anything.
Gotcha.
Which after book 1, we don't know why yet.
Yeah, we don't know what they're fighting or what they're doing yet.
So in book 1, Xaden is more on what side?
He's 100% on the resistance revolution side.
Was book 1 when they
The
were
last quote was
taking
last-
daggers out?
Yeah, so they were taking daggers from the War's college
Yeah.
and bringing them to the Flyers.
Because what do the daggers do? The daggers are the ones that kill the wyvern, right?
The Venom.
The venom.
Revolution.
Okay.
But
That's the last quote
gets
of the
close
book.
to the end, I think, right?
That is closer to the end.
Scene, pretty much.
The
Yeah.
last line of the book is "Welcome to the Revolution, Violet."
Yeah.
So obviously Xaden knew all along.
Xaden, those shadows are just hiding a bunch of different
Sneaking
stuff.
up on people,
Lots of
Xaden
secrets.
knew all
causing
along.
lightning.
Even
It's his MO.
was leading the missions to take the daggers out.
That is true. Should Xaden have told Violet sooner about the revolution? If so, when do you think that should have been brought up?
She can't handle herself without him saying that.
I would agree with you. She probably would have fell apart and been like, oh my goodness, those flat leathers still look good on you.
I think, well, it was kind of early in their relationship still, but I think the one chance he had, if he was going to tell her, was when she got the Book of Fables from,
Justinia?
from Justinia, and she found the cryptic note from her father that kind of
Is that book 1?
That is book 1. It's at the end.
Page 391.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
Somebody did some research.
Wow. What's the Book of Fables, Michaela? Or anyone?
He wasn't
It's
down here.
kind of just stories about Venom and Wyvern, kind of what Danny touched on before with them, that they are like bad people and they take the power from the ground. I don't really remember the rest
Essentially,
of the
it's
fable.
like they were told it's fake.
Right.
I mean, well, Violet was told it was fake. She can't find these fables anywhere else.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Well, didn't she believe they were fake until she literally met him face to face? And, like, my dad's note was real? Wasn't that pretty much what happened? Like, oh, he wasn't lying to me. He was actually giving me stuff to look at.
She didn't think he was lying. She just thought it was a myths.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a,
Yeah, like a like
fable.
what's the guy, the giant and the beanstalk or whatever, like that.
And she probably thought there were like lessons to learn from the fables, but not that they were truth.
It'd be like if we someday run into Zeus from Greek mythology.
That would be sweet.
She said something about like if you don't eat your vegetables, like then the venom might come for you. Or
Yeah, it was like a
something.
way to get kids to behave.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah.
And I think she was kind
Won't
of
say that, in
catching
case
on
there's kids
to it
listening.
since like none of the scribes knew that there was the Book of Fables. Like, so she did think that was weird.
Yeah, because the scribes have every book. That's something we didn't really talk about. In their libraries, they have every book that's known, except later in the book you find out actually they don't have every book, and there are things that have been removed from the library so nobody knows about them.
Like whole chunks of time.
It's like whole chunks of history. And it's like dating way, way, way back history, right? It's like the old history.
It's not. They have
Some.
before the fables were written, and then they have a gap, and then they have after them. So they have like 600 years ago, and then nothing, and then like. 1,000
Because they
years
were
ago.
trying to hide something.
Just takes one generation to forget.
It takes Violet to come in, poke at her nose around.
I do kind of wish he would have told her because book 2 is a lot of them like bickering about.
Oh
them.
my
Yeah.
gosh!
Preach. Yes, I'm in the middle
That
of
we will discuss next time.
I'm in the middle of
But
book 2 right
that's
now.
a good reason for him to have
Gosh.
told her, because she gets really upset about it.
You
I
guys
think
are
the
just
time to do
disappointed the
it was
lightning sex
like
calms down
right
for a while.
before she got injured, if that's like if that
They
was
didn't hear you.
possible. Like,
Yeah, I don't know that there was like technically enough time for him to, because they were like into the war games, and then the Flyers just kind of showed up, and then they were like having to go save that city. So it's like, I don't know that he had enough time. Like,
I don't think she would have
Time.
taken it any better either. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm part of this. She'd be like, you lied to me.
yeah. But he also he had to think of a whole group of people.
Yeah.
He also needed to make sure he could trust her.
Yeah. I don't
Even
think
if-
he was in the wrong to.
No,
He-
I feel like
yeah.
the dragons, like you said, they maybe knew what was going to happen, and that's why they wanted those two to bond.
Oh yeah, like Taryn knew.
Yeah, so they knew, but it doesn't mean that Xaden knew. It doesn't mean that Sigel told Xaden.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he still probably had to trust her to be able to tell her about it.
So Gail really seems like she's pulling a lot of strings here.
Mm-hmm.
So Gale does?
Yeah.
The dragon?
Yeah.
Huh.
She
In book
basically
one?
has Taryn.
This world.
I mean, wasn't that like Taryn knew but didn't tell Violet
Yeah.
because Sigale made him promise that he wouldn't. Book 2. Moving right along, we're gonna jump into the next question. So there's a lot of, I mean, throughout the series, but even in book 1 a little bit, there's a lot of things to say, like dragons don't make mistakes. They pick their riders very specifically. But basically the underlying thing is like they don't make mistakes. They are kind of running this show, which we've kind of alluded to anyways. So my question was, why do you think that General Malgren's dragon gifted the Separatist children a relic that would block his own rider from seeing them? So, like, this dragon was the one that, like, it was, like, burned onto them, right? And it burned the relic onto them. But now if 3 or more of them are together, he can't see them. And he can't predict their outcome of a war or anything like that. Like, why would the dragon do that specifically to his rider if they don't make any mistakes?
Is the dragon being completely honest with his rider? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe
But he
he's-
also is like, I mean, the dragon seemed evil, right? Because wasn't Taryn like not a friend of him?
Yeah, but he's still a dragon, and if dragons truly know everything, kind of what's going to happen or what's kind of behind the scenes, maybe he didn't want his rider to know everything that's happening.
I don't think he intended to do it.
The dragon didn't.
Yeah,
Like to
so-
block it. Yeah,
to
that's a
block.
totally another option too.
But because I kind of have a theory, but it would be a spoiler from book 3, so
Write that theory down.
I do have it written down.
For number 3.
To be continued at a later date.
Trevor?
I mean, they do talk about that dragons know a lot of things that they don't share. So it's probably something we could potentially learn. But it also could be as simple as the dragon didn't care as much as the rider did.
Okay, so here's a quote from the book that's coming from the Fables. But it was the third brother who commanded the sky to surrender its greatest power, who finally vanquished his jealous siblings at a great and terrible price. The Venin then tells her, you could command the sky to surrender all its power, her being Violet. What do you think the significance is that Violet Signet is commanding the sky? She herself says at one point in the book, I am the sky and the power of every storm that has ever been. I am infinite. So what do you think about this quote?
So this was one of, I don't even know if Taylor's version of the book had these quotes, but this was one of the quotes that was
At the top.
at the very top of the chapter.
A little, like, almost foreshadowing for the chapter, I feel like, all those little
Yeah.
quotes.
It was weird. So the book does have those, but it didn't have it for like the first part 1. So again, I'm listening to them. They have part 1 and part 2. Part 1 had none of that. Part 2 has it. Part 1 in the book 2 has it, and now part 2 in book 2 has those. So I don't know why.
They are important, because they're little, like, foreshadowing pieces.
I do feel like that they're more relevant though if you're reading, just because if you were just listening, it'd be hard to keep like the colonel and the lieutenant and the where all of them are coming from.
It already is hard
Yeah, because you're listening to
to keep
it.
them all straight. I'm sitting here. If they didn't have voices to them, like the dramatized version, I would be so lost. I'd be like, who's that again? Who's that again? Who's that again?
There are a lot of characters. I don't even remember all of the writers' names.
Me neither. But someone important just got shot with 2 arrows in the side. Spoiler
Spoiler.
alert. That's book 2. And that is going to be at a later date. So we'll talk about that later. There is a lot of foreshadowing in this book, though.
A lot.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
A lot of book.
It's hard
a lot
to
of
talk
foreshadowing.
about.
Reread
book
it
one.
a second time.
Yeah.
I'll
But-
probably listen to it a second time, honestly.
Well, yeah, when book 4 comes out, you got to redo them all.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about book one without referencing the other two.
Yeah.
True,
So this,
and-
I feel like this question is specifically hard without referencing anything else
But-
because
And I'll just say this, and we can talk about this in our second podcast for book 2. This quote was brought up. I just got to the scene. That was not a fart, people. That was not a fart. That was the paper. That was the paper hitting the cord.
like that sounded wet.
If I let one loose on the microphone, I would raise my hand up accountability, but I did not. Like I said there's a part in book 2 right now that this literally just came up because she was fighting a certain something, and this certain something just said this certain something.
Spoilers.
That's book 2.
Book 2.
Yeah.
What? We waited this whole time for that?
Yeah. I don't want to spoil it too much,
This certain something happened to this certain someone, and guess what it was? You'll never know.
but that was all based off of the quote that Sam just read, so you do kind of know.
I have no idea what
I
you're
don't
talking
even know
about.
what we're talking about anymore.
You could command the sky to surrender all its power.
Oh, this just made me think of this because you said commanding the sky.
Yeah.
The Venom are pulling their power from the ground.
Yep.
So then is she pulling her power from the sky if they're pulling theirs from the ground?
She must
That
be.
is the circulating question in
And
the
later in
Fourth Wing
the
universe right now.
Well, I am just catching up to the Fourth Wing universe, and there we go.
later in the book or later down the road, I wonder if like her mom and her are going to team up because she can control. The mom is the signet of storms, whatever you guys said.
Yep, the weather.
Is she going to help Violet in book 4, 5, or even book 3? I have no clue. Haven't read it yet.
Possibly.
And what's going to go on there? So I was like, oh yeah, maybe her mom and her going to be badasses and just do work.
Or maybe there's something about them that makes them similar, and that's why their signets are similar.
That is true. Do signets run in the family? And we can talk about that on the next
Technically, no,
podcast.
because they come from the specific bond between dragon and rider.
I didn't know that.
You already know her brother's and her sister's signet, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Is it Brennan? Brennan's a healer. And then
And
Mender.
Mender.
Mender,
And then Mira is...
Extending the war.
extending the wards, which she struggles
which
to do.
that feels like it could be very important.
It does.
Like,
Yeah.
it feels kind of overplayed, or like overlooked, I guess. And then I feel like it might eventually be an important thing.
How does one get a signet like that?
What is her core? Must protect?
Yeah, I guess.
There seems to be a common theme throughout the book with the characters not being as they first appear. Dane, good guy, and then Xaden, kind of ruthless. Violet is weak. Is there anyone else on that list that was kind of like that? Like, oh, this person is something, and then it just turns out to be like, what the heck?
I'm sorry, but when did Violet become not weak?
That is a very good question, but
She's
you are right.
working on it.
She's less weak than
She's
she
working
was.
on fitness.
Hey, remember, she's got 3 more books to figure it out.
You mean she has Xaden
Well,
to do all her work?
2 more if you're caught up to us.
That is true.
Yeah.
She has Xaden to do all their work.
So I guess Violet's mom appeared heartless, but she's the only one who believed she could actually make it through the Riders Quadrant, theoretically.
Yeah.
If she didn't die on the parapet.
They didn't really talk until the end of book 1, right? Or did they not talk until...
Well, when she bonds with her dragon. But it's very brief.
Yeah.
It's like a very short conversation.
You're right. It is very brief.
Again, maybe because she's just trying not to show favoritism, but
Yep.
I mean, that sucks. That's your mom.
And everybody knows. It's not like people are like, oh, that's your mom? You have the same last name.
Well, I talk about that her mom makes it a big deal that she doesn't come across as she has to be tough, basically, is what she's trying to give off.
But back to this question about the characters, I think there's probably a lot of characters that seem like something and they end up being something else.
Yeah, like Liam, he was alive.
You guys don't watch any interviews, do you?
He was alive and then he was not. Darn it.
Bad
The
face.
opposite.
Aw, poor Liam.
Shoot.
R.I.P.
Michaela's tearing up currently.
Just thinking about it.
I was thinking about we did skip over Liam's part on our little sheet here.
Yeah,
But,
Liam's sad face.
We did. And that's a good transition after this. Do you think in future books there will be more depth revealed on other characters? Well, you're not
Yes, I
spoiling.
sure
You're not
hope she
spoiling
dives
anything
into
for me
characters
or
more.
anyone else if you talk about the depth of characters in future books. So you guys have read all 3 of them through 3 books. Do they dive more into the depth of characters and character building? Because right now, I really think there's Violet's built like crazy. Xaden is built. General Sorengale we're learning more about. But correct me if I'm wrong. That's kind of what the first book is about? It's just that.
Yeah, there's a lot of building on characters, like side characters, I would say.
In the next 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like in any series where there's like 5 to 6 books, it's always like the first one is like building the world. The second one is setting the stage. The third one is kind of that crossover where you are building the extra characters. You know, things happen, but it's more like a crossover to like what you need to know for like what's actually going to happen in
Yeah.
book 4 and 5, which is like the rest of the story.
Well, and book 3 normally has some sort of like introduction to the conflict. Like what is the conflict? And it's kind of the start of like the war or whatever it is that's going on, I think.
That is true. I just can't help but think, and this is a total side note, like the resemblance to other books that have already been written. Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter. Like there's so many like little nuances. And those
I would argue every fantasy book has a little bit.
well, it has
Like
to.
you're like, that's kind of similar.
Why
Like,
wouldn't
all
you-
games and trials are kind of like the Hunger Games.
Why wouldn't you as a writer take bits and pieces from books that already killed it? Like so that's I don't know. I just always have that in the back of my mind. Like Frodo.
I'm
But-
sure there's books that we haven't even read. Like I haven't finished The Wheel of Time, but I'm sure there's some like pulls from there. I mean, it's like one of the most epic fantasy books ever.
Michaela, do you want to lead this procession on Liam?
So Liam, Xaden asks him to kind of be Violet's protector once
Mm-hmm.
they are known that they're going to be bonded through mated dragons. And so he follows her around and
Did
Very nice
they
guy.
become good friends. And she almost has lightning sex with him.
yeah, that is true. I
Really?
forgot about that.
She could have.
If she wanted.
But she didn't.
First night where she was manifesting, she thought about it.
Liam wouldn't do it.
I don't remember that at all.
You don't remember her peeking out her door? And she like, ooh,
I'm pretty sure she thought it was
Liam.
Liam.
No, and then she was like, oh, I can't do that. And then she goes and kisses Xaden. And then
Now that you say that, I do
all.
remember
Xaden's
that.
like, where's Liam? He's supposed to be watching your rooms. And she goes, he's in bed. And he goes,
Oh, but
your
that's
bed?
because their dragons are
Yeah,
hooking
I
up.
remember
Maybe.
She doesn't even have any control.
Anyways, it would have been kind of cool if she liked Liam for a bit. I would have been all for that.
Yeah, I don't think she actually did though, right? It was just the fact that
She was
Sigel
hammered,
and
but-
Taryn were getting it on, and so it made her feel like, ooh, anybody that's
Yep,
out there,
basically.
come on into my room.
Come and holla.
Let's get it
Oh,
on.
I thought you were saying when this must be in book 2 when like all them go out and they like get like really drunk. I thought it was
That's
during
book
that
2, I
time. But this is when they're mating.
Well, 'cause
The dragons.
The dragons are mating.
Ah,
He
yes,
was
okay.
already dead by then.
Spoiler alert.
He's
I've
As
already said it.
as we've already said, yes, this character dies. How did he die again?
his dragon died.
Oh yeah. Okay, so there it is. The
Yeah.
dragon died, so then he died.
Correct.
Yes.
I don't know why people say spoiler. This was book 1. I didn't
Spoiler.
spoil anything.
No,
Other
just
than
in
the
general,
the
spoiler,
end
he's
of
dead.
book 1.
All right, Michaela, did you have more?
This is just a side note of foreshadowing in the first book with Liam. But when they're at the king's like celebration, him and Violet are talking, and she says Brennan would have like hated all this. Like he's the type that wants to get work done, and then rather than celebrate. And then Liam says, "Yeah, sounds like," and then he stops talking. but it's because Liam knew Brennan.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Good catch.
Good catch.
Wow.
That was a
Analysis.
reread thing.
Wow. A plus
Well,
plus.
That's pretty clever. There is so much depth in this book. Like
There is.
the amount of thought out. Like I don't even know.
She's a really good writer. Like she writes very good.
In a interview, Rebecca Yarros had said like, because somebody was like, "Why'd you have to kill him off?" And she was like saying he had no more character development, so she pretty much had to. So beware of getting attached to anybody who you feel like has no more movement.
And you know what that reminds me of? Game of Thrones.
Okay, but
No
they
more
made a
movement,
point
that
of
boy
killing
be a movement like
everybody.
that.
You get attached to one of those characters, all of a sudden it's like, well, you're
But
worthless.
you know
See
who made
ya.
it to the end? Podrick. Podrick made it to the end.
Yeah.
Loved
That's
Podrick.
a good point.
The last 3 seasons, they gave up on killing everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone was getting absolutely pissed. Dane, let's jump into him. Thoughts on him? Good, bad, ugly, an absolute tool. What do we think?
Well, at first, I think you're kind of rooting for him.
Yeah,
You know?
him
They
and
grew up
Violet, right?
Together, they're best friends. It kind of seems like maybe they like each other.
What? That whole
and-
time he was just rude.
Well, he was leadership. I think he was trying to.
He essentially said, "You suck. Get away. Get out of here."
Okay, but she kind of does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
He was
he's
trying to be a good
brutally
He
honest.
was trying to look out for her.
He didn't
He
want
was-
his friend to die.
Yeah, he thought she was going to die, for sure.
Okay, like if let's say Sam was like as weak as Violet. She's not, but let's say she is.
I might
And she was
be.
like, "I'm gonna be a writer." I'm like, "The hell you are! I'm locking you in the bedroom and just saying, you're
The
gonna
hell
stay here.
you are.
You don't belong there.
Read some books here.
Yeah.
Scribe.
You should be a scribe.
Oh, no, I think he was trying to be a good friend, and I also feel like we all like get on his case because he read her mind or whatever when he put his hands on her face, but I don't know. He did it like a couple times, and that's not even the worst thing that's ever happened to her.
And he also was misinformed at the time, too. We don't have a lot of the information in book 1, but I think, imagine if your parent was telling you something your whole life. You're
Yeah.
probably going to believe them.
His dad is a garbage human, so like,
Yeah. So
it's
compared to his
amazing he
dad,
turned out
yeah.
as good as he did.
And
Exactly.
his dad was the right hand to Soren Gale's
Yeah,
or
he's the one who sent them
Officer Sorgale.
to die
Yes, during
At the end of the
during the
book.
war games.
during the
Yep.
war games. Yep,
Yep.
yep. And his signet, he can read. He's the one that can read minds
Yes.
or memories. There you go, memories.
If he's touching your face.
If he's touching you, yep. Don't get too close. What are some things we should start questioning in the books?
Everything.
Everyone.
Everything you know.
Everything.
You don't know it.
I think there's a lot we don't know. And I'm surprised after reading the first 3 that it's only 5 books. Because
Yeah,
that
she's
means
gonna-
there's only 2 more.
Do you think
That
it
means
can
that
go
the last
longer?
book is going to be Bible font.
Maybe.
7,000
Bible
pages.
font. Oh my
Seriously,
goodness.
I'm not even joking. Go look at that book upstairs. It is Bible font.
I'll have to check it out. What things should we start questioning though? Are there any questions off the top of your guys' head that are like, oh, wonder what's gonna happen? Now, again, you guys read books 2 and 3, but after book 1, if you can think back, what were you like? I wonder what will happen.
Well, right at the end of book 1, right, we find out that her brother is actually alive. And she thought he was dead for, I think it was 6 years or something
Yep.
like that.
6 years.
So what can we possibly believe of anything we've been told of people that are
yeah, and
dead?
also
or...
the fact that everybody thought these were fables and they're all real.
And they're
I
real.
guarantee like anything in that fable book is real.
Yeah, we just haven't heard much about anything else
No,
from the,
the
Fable
three
book.
brothers.
Yeah.
like,
I was just gonna ask that. There's nothing else was said about the fables besides the wyvern and the venom.
just the three brothers. There's like some quotes on the top about them.
So the 3 deathly howls, that
Kind of.
howls.
whatever. Our resident Harry Potter expert over there. How do you say it? Deathly Hollows.
Correct.
Ooh,
Deathly
there we go.
Hallows.
Like a hollow hole.
Yes, where the elderly one was made.
It-
Okay, we're getting
it did
off
make
topic.
me think of the Deathly Hallows
Right?
when I was reading about the 3 brothers.
I listened to that, and all I can picture was Harry sitting in that frickin' weird-looking house talking to that old man, and, well, the Death Hollow in
Xenophilius
this.
Lovegood?
Yeah, sure.
That That is not what he sounded like at all.
No, he didn't. He was an old man that could barely talk.
His hair is just white. He has a
Yeah,
daughter
you're
his
also
Harry's
right.
age.
But he was kind of a creep in that part.
Yeah.
He was just.
But that's all I thought about when I heard the Three Brothers story in this book, too. I was like, oh, nice pull.
Nice.
Nice pull.
Looking ahead, we have podcast number 2 coming out about book number 2, and then I need to catch up and talk about, or catch up in book number 3, and then we have another podcast coming out about that later on. I want to jump ahead. Do we think the whole series is going to be happy or a happy ending?
So Michaela pointed out something that's like written in the beginning that I didn't notice at first about Jacinia writing. This is her. So she's the main scribe that we know. She is writing all of these books, technically, in remembrance of the ones who gave up their life for this war. So it kind of alludes to, like, who all died. But I refuse to think that it's not going to be at least a partially happy ending, because I think that would suck.
So she's writing a memoir.
And they're gone.
Yeah, it says something.
It talks about, like, honoring the fallen or something, right? Isn't that how it's worded?
In
Michaela
book-
has her book.
In
She's
book
ready.
1? It does?
In all of them.
Yeah, it says the following text has been faithfully transcribed from Navarian into the modern language by Jacinia Neilwart, curator of the Scribe Quadrant at Biscayeth War College. All events are true, and names have been preserved to honor the courage of those fallen. May their souls be commended to Malik.
Oh, yeah, this isn't ending happy then. No, everyone's dying.
No, but that doesn't mean that Violet and Xaden die. It just means, like Liam died, so we're going to use his real name. Like,
You're right, but with that being, I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's going to be one lone survivor, and it's probably going to be Jacinia.
Jacinia.
Yeah.
And it's not Jacinia.
Time out. It's going to be 2 lone survivors. It's going to be a character that I don't know about yet in book 3 that comes out, because you said they were building more characters. And then it's going to be Jacinia. Everyone else is getting offed. Sorry, guys. You can stop listening to the podcast right now. But Mrs. Yaros, or whatever affiliation she has with whoever, she's killing everyone.
Just going Game of Thrones on the rest of this series.
Possibly.
But you know what? I'm still going to read the whole series.
We're going to get flagged for all these times we say killed. Don't you have to say unalive now or whatever?
I don't know.
No. We'll be Gucci.
Okay.
No, but what do you guys think? Is it going to end happy? Is it not?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I kind of think, well, I mean, if she's still alive and telling a story, that might at least mean there's a world still to live in.
She's still at the War
How
College.
doom and gloom did you
which
think it was
means
going to
that's
be?
still standing.
Yeah,
World's gone, see it.
There's still quadrants.
Later.
and maybe they, like, beat the venom as a happy ending, but I think people are gonna die in...
She already said people are about to die
Maybe
in book
the
4.
dragons just survive.
Maybe.
Yeah, because they can survive when their riders are dead. You guys did mention that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and we've talked about how we think they kind of know everything. They're behind the scenes. It's their story.
It's their world.
They're the main characters.
Okay. So a little mixed. Mostly on the gloom side, I feel like this room is.
I think it'll be more on the happy side.
Trevor thinks the happy side.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that because I have absolutely no idea. I just feel like it's happy.
What I think.
I love it.
That's
Okay.
what Trevor's hoping for.
I'm
he loves
drawing-
a good happy ending.
It's a romance novel. It's got to be a happy ending.
I'm drawing a blank. Who's Brennan?
Oh,
You're right. Yep, that was dumb.
At the very, very end.
the biggest plot twist so far.
Yep. So let's jump into that. Could you have done what Brennan did and keep your family in the dark about you being alive? And it was 6 years. You're right, Sam. Because Violet finds
Those
out at the end of the first
listening
book.
audience know
right?
that Trevor is my brother.
Oh, yeah.
Got a whole family affair going on here.
It feels like, yeah, Sam's just here.
I'm just here.
I feel like that's a big old nope. I'd be like, oh, accidentally texted them.
Okay.
There were no phones back in this time.
Accidentally sent a message.
You're going to be sending them a
Scribe version.
pigeon.
Scribe version.
What on earth was that?
Accidentally sent it home.
Could you have done what Brennan did and keep your family in the dark if you were alive, but
I missed the question.
No, why would you
entirely.
not
Like,
trust?
What are we talking
You're
about?
trusting Xaden, some stranger, but you're not gonna trust your sister to like be on your side about this.
have you not seen him wield those shadows? Yeah, you're trusting Xaden.
Okay, but would you not trust Violet to like not tell on you?
Well, it's telling her mom.
Yeah, I think I could not be able to keep it from like Violet and Mira, but I
Yeah.
do think he probably thought his mom, is the general at the war college and has been lying to him his whole life. So I do think he probably like hates her.
But if
and
he
could
mentions it-
possibly not let her know.
If he mentions
Yeah,
it to his
yeah.
siblings and they overreact right away, then secret's out. They can't take it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in 6 years you can't find a private second to like kidnap them a little bit.
1 second to say, "Hey, I've been missing
Okay.
6 years. React normal."
Spoiler for chapter 1 of book 2, but Violet does know that there is a revolution and that Brennan's a part of it, and she accepts it within like a minute because it's Brennan. So like,
Because
You
he
can do that
only
in
healed her like
6 years?
77. No, that's a spoiler alert. Never mind.
At that point, her mindset's already different than what it would have been if he said it 3 years earlier.
yeah,
Yeah.
but what if he took her past the wards, showed her kind of like what they're doing?
Then she'd die. Like, he's not gonna do that.
I think the question is complicated because it's splitting family.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was going to say that.
Like,
Are you at riff with one of your family members or, like, I don't know, are you on.
I just don't think I could just leave my whole family behind and be like, see ya, hope you don't mind that I'm dead. Like,
Yeah, it's a tough question. It
would
really
be a
is.
different answer if you hated your parents.
And that's what I'm thinking, too. Like,
That's
if
what
you're.
I'm saying.
Don't want
It's a
your
split. It's not the
sibling
same
to
story
tell it.
for us because we don't have
yeah,
that.
but he didn't hate his siblings.
I'm not even
How
sure
could
he
he just
hates
like
his mom.
not
He just hates
talk
what she
to them for
does.
6 years?
It would be hard, but if you thought that they would tell your mom and your mom's in charge of everything and it would ruin everything and kill everyone,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
I don't think I'd be able to do
I
it.
wouldn't be able
If
to.
it's a yes or no answer, I don't think I'd be able to do it.
Absolutely
No,
wouldn't be
He
able to
could
do it.
but he
No.
did this.
But he did it.
Well, he didn't
For
even
6
hate
years.
our mom.
For 6 years.
We don't hate our moms. That's a little different.
That is true. That is very
But if
true.
he hates his mom.
Also, we can't imagine our moms just murdering a bunch of people.
Yeah, no, it's hard to imagine.
Giving kids
Gosh, my
107
mom.
slashes in the back. Do you think Violet's dad died of a heart attack or maybe was killed because he knew more? What do we think?
First of all, I'll be honest. I have Alzheimer's sometimes when I read books, so I forget things, and I didn't even know that he died from a heart attack. Is that what they said happened to him?
Yeah, I had to look it up.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think it was.
Okay, well, I guess I haven't thought much about it then because I didn't know he even died from a heart attack.
So no matter what he died from, do you think he actually died from that or was he killed? That's kind of what we're getting at. Does he know more than that little book he gave Violet?
no, I think he died of a heart attack because who would be doing the killing? Like Violet's mom?
You never know.
Maybe.
Character
She loved
building.
him. Like
General Melgren?
Maybe he's still alive.
maybe.
Maybe he
Ah,
is still alive.
Rebecca Yarros already came
Bum,
out
bum,
and said he's dead.
Where did Brennan get it from? His daddy.
Huh?
Got it
I
from my
kind of
papa.
think he was killed.
I do too.
I think he maybe knew Brennan was alive even. But there's a quote in the book where it's when she finds her, like, his note in her fable. And Violet says he got a little cryptic in the years after Brennan's death. She admits softly, losing my brother made my father even more reclusive. I only really got to spend time with him because I was always in the archives studying to be a scribe. And like we know
Yeah.
he knew about Venin and Wyvern because he wrote the letter in the fables to Violet. And then we also know his like studying, I don't think this is a spoiler, was on Feathertails.
Maybe he was working with Brennan when he.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Maybe he knew about Brennan. And that's why he got cryptic. And then got killed by.
Never mind, that'd be a future book spoiler.
Yeah, don't do that.
There's like quite a bit more detail that comes out about the dad in the later books, but
So I gotta wait.
That's still all I think before. Like,
Yeah, that all happened before.
Before we jump into some rapid fire questions, let's talk about Taryn's previous writers. Honestly, I didn't think he had previous writers. I just thought he was a badass dragon who never bonded to anyone and then found this little girl because Xaden liked her and Zagael was like, oh, you better bond this thing because we're going to be mated for life now. What are your thoughts on Taryn's previous writers?
it just doesn't make any sense because Taryn's like 100 and something years
I
old.
thought he was. Isn't he older than that?
No, he's like 100 something. And then you're going to say that he only had Naolan as his other rider, and that's it? When, what do you go, like 85 years, 90 years before he bonded with a single person? That seems a little far-fetched.
Why?
this is like a little bit of a spoiler. But I think they do bring up that, like, Taryn and Zagael are like a young mated couple.
Are they?
Yeah, they say that sometime.
So that
I think that might be in the
know.
first book. Because I think she calls him an old man and he gets all mad about it because he's not that old.
But yeah, I did think it was kind of weird that he's only had one where, because Zagael's, I don't know, I guess we only know
Well,
of one other
Zagael's
rider,
old
too.
rider was Xaden's grandpa.
Yeah.
So that was
Or great grandpa.
two generations before Xaden. But Naolan is the same age as Brennan. Theoretically, that's what we're guessing. And you're going to say that, like, Zagael had a rider at a normal age, like, 2 generations ago, and Taryn was like, I'm going to wait until I'm almost 100.
Yeah, that confused me a little bit too because I don't know when, like, Xaden's grandpa died, but they say that usually mated dragons mate the same year, and it doesn't seem like that happened ever.
Mm-mm.
Bond the same year, you
Yeah,
mean?
sorry, bond.
Yeah, because it makes sense that they would do the same year because then when the riders graduate, then they can be together. Because that's one thing we didn't touch about earlier when we talked about mated dragons is that they cannot be apart for a long period of time.
It's like a week, isn't it?
3 days?
Wasn't he flying back and
3
forth
days, and then they
every?
start getting uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
can go
They can go
2
longer,
weeks.
but
Yeah.
3 days is like once they start feeling it and needing to
He was flying a
wanting
long
it.
ways to get some action. Good for him.
lightning sex.
They're dragons. They weren't having lightning sex. They were having.
You don't know.
He might be part human and dragon. Who knows? Maybe Rebecca will reveal that in book 5. The last sentence.
So this, I made a note here that there's a theory going around the circles of the internets about how, you know, in the beginning when he says this is my name, but you can just tell them Taryn to, like, when they report the dragon name, they're saying that every single name that he gave is actually a name that he's gone by. So, like, he was known as Taryn for Violet and Naolan, but then he went by another name for a different rider, another name for another rider. So, like, he's only been with those two as Taryn.
So then that would make sense with the...
He'd have like 4 to 5 riders, or at least.
He is a mystery dragon. He really keeps to himself and really doesn't share too much.
I think he's pretty high up in the chain of Dragon Command or whatever.
Well, yeah, he's a black dragon. He's huge.
Well, I think Coda's above him.
Yeah, he's like...
I think Coda might be like the dragon.
All right, real quick before we get into rapid fire questions and wrap up our first part of our 3-part series. This would be awesome as a movie. I really think if the right director has it.
Show.
Okay, TV show too. I think it would be awesome. Who do you have playing? Let's say Xaden, Violet, Liam, and General Sorengale. Those 4 characters. Who do you have playing those 4 characters? Any ideas? And we can collaborate too off of this together.
Well, for Violet, I have Freya Allen, who's the like Witcher's daughter. Like she's.
Oh, yeah.
Theory.
Yeah, okay. I like that one.
Can you be in both shows?
Oh, yeah, you can. You can be in both
They're both
shows.
in the same realm.
Change her look so easily that she wouldn't.
Yeah,
even
like
be
this
Yeah.
picture. She doesn't even look like
Yeah. She would be a good one.
the girl.
Mm-hmm.
Fine then.
For those of you listening,
Xaden's gonna be Henry Cavill.
for those of you
And Dane is
listening,
gonna be
Michaela
Henry
has.
Cavill.
For those of you listening, Michaela has pictures of pictures of these people, so that's what she's showing us. Who else you got,
I
Michaela?
wish that like Jason Momoa, when he was in his like 20s, we could just take him from the past and stick him in as Xaden.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's hard because I feel like
I don't know what he looked like in his
they have
20s,
to
I
be
guess.
kind of young
Yeah.
actors and actresses, so that's kind of a hard.
It would have to be someone from overseas. It couldn't be an American. There's no like heartthrob American actors right now for guys.
Oh, I think there is. We're just out of the
We're just
out of
old.
the know.
We are old.
What's that guy? The one of the main character's name in like, I'm mixing up all the shows. Is it Gilmore Girls? No, not Gilmore Girls.
Gossip Girl.
Gossip Girl.
Chuck. Ed
Chuck
Westwick?
Bass.
Yeah, it could be Chuck.
Chuck
Ed
Bass would be
Westwick.
funny. Chuck
He's
Bass
getting
would be
older, too.
something as Xaden. Who do you?
They're all getting old.
Who else you got, Michaela? Go ahead.
There's a Gossip Girl reboot, and the guy in it who is like the Chuck Bass of like the reboot, I can't remember his name. He would be a good character for like Bodie or Garrick or what's his face, Riddick.
So we got Violet.
Okay.
I thought Michaela for sure put Riddick as like.
Dylan O'Brien.
Yes, that's exactly what I
Yes.
thought it would be.
Everybody's talking about that. That
Wow.
like him and
I-
Teen Wolf is like paving the way for Riddick.
I didn't, but obviously he would be a choice. So for two of them, I put for Riddick or Bodie, and then I also put for Xaden or Bodie. Is this like Josh Houston? I don't know how to say it, but I think he's like an Australian actor.
Oh yeah.
And there's talks of him actually maybe being in the TV show.
What is he from?
I actually don't know.
I don't really like that casting.
He's handsome.
But I do like him for Bodie.
Oh, love John B.
I don't remember what his actual name is.
No, I have no idea.
He's handsome.
I have one for Xaden.
Who do you got?
Theo James.
Ooh, a little too old,
He's
but
too
I would be
old.
in for that. He's 4 from Divergent.
Correct.
You know how good they are at makeup these days. You can make a 50-year-old look 20
Yeah.
these
True.
days.
He
might
in
be a
his
better,
prime.
Who did you say him for?
Xaden.
Xaden.
I would actually. I'm wondering about Dane.
You'd be better for Dane, because they describe like Xaden should be like like darker and
Yeah.
tan, and then like black flowing hair.
Jason Momoa.
I once told Chris Gillard that he looked like Jason Momoa. Shout out to Chris Gillard.
Chris Gillard, if you're listening.
He
Do you
mentions
think-
it every time.
Do you think who's the main character from Crazy Rich Asians? The like rich guy that she ends up marrying. He could be, if you like spruce him
Oh.
up a little bit, he could be like one of the side characters, like Riddick or.
I wish I watched
Garrett.
more movies so I can help you guys with this. Because I'm not a big movie buff. I know these people, though.
I just don't know the actors and actresses' names that well.
What do you got for General Sorrengail, Michaela? Do you have one?
I didn't put anyone, but I've seen a lot of people putting the
I don't know.
girl who plays
from Game of Thrones?
in Game of Thrones, the like evil queen.
Oh, what's
The
her
red-haired
name?
girl?
No,
the like queen.
Cersei?
Yeah.
Cersei. What's
I've
her
seen
What's her
people
name?
Put her as like,
That would work. I think that would work.
and then Jack Barlow, Alexander Ludwig from the Hunger Games. He's like one of the ones that are kind of evil.
Yeah,
Kato?
Yeah,
That works.
think so.
I like that cast. It's pretty good. Do they know when that show's coming out? Or is it just in the works? Or talking about it, I guess.
They, I think, are
They're
They're like finding people right now.
talking about casting soon.
They have,
That's exciting.
Rebecca Yarros just said that she's read like the first script.
Oh, cool. So she's going to be involved,
Mhm.
which is good because if they try to let someone else be involved and try to just read the book and do something, I don't think it will be good.
And she said she was very excited.
You know what we're going to do? We are going to jump into rapid fire questions for everyone. These are rapid fire. They got to be quick right off the top of the dome. Are we ready?
Yeah.
That's the enthusiasm I like to see. What quadrant would you be in?
Infantry.
Healer.
Rider.
Oh, I'm included in this.
Yes.
I'll go scribe.
I was thinking scribe too.
I was thinking scribe too, but with my actual job, I think I have to pick healer.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, you went that way, Sam. That's smart.
No, I would.
Well, then I would have to pick healer too, but I don't want to pick healer.
Everyone in this room.
I feel like that parapet does not sound hard.
What color dragon would you bond?
Scotland doesn't sound that
Or
bad.
what color dragon would bond you? Because you don't bond dragons, they bond you. What color?
You were a writer.
Assuming you were a rider. So it looks like only one of us are bonding a dragon. Just kidding. What dragon would bond you?
Again, back to the Alzheimer's. I don't remember what they
Yeah, I
all
don't
are, but if
remember
we're
what they
going purely on what I think, black, because they're big and bad.
Yeah. Black, no doubt. There's green, there's blue, there's black, there's orange, and there's gold. And there might even be white and
But do they
red.
explain
Gold
what
is
they
just a
mean
feather
or
tail.
no?
Green are usually nice, so I'd go with green.
They do when they're talking about the whole thrashing thing. They do quickly. I don't remember. Alzheimer, me and you, Sam.
Yeah. Yep.
It's that red scorpion tail.
I don't remember.
you
The,
can
Or
put the
star
tail.
tail. I like the
so.
star tail. I think that's pretty useful.
I'm going black.
I hope we learn more about
I
all
mean,
the
black would be
tails.
the coolest.
Well, I watched this like reel that was like if the tails were like it's an AI generated thing,
Blue would
and
be
like
sweet.
seeing that I was like, oh, that's like not what I pictured at all.
Well,
like
it's a Gale's blue.
Scorpion tail is
And
like
she's the
literally
other
like
really
a
big
scorpion tail that comes up with a stinger.
Mhm.
The star tail is like a club, like if you have like a club on a chain thing
Yeah.
that has spikes. Yeah, they're pretty like cool how they described them.
Would you survive the challenges?
Hell no.
Well,
Nope.
Quick-
I think I could do it.
Quickly,
I really do.
quickly
I have
tell
a
me
lot
what the
of
challenges
confidence.
were. You got the parapet, and then you had the gauntlet? No.
Yeah.
Yeah? And
Yeah.
then what was the other one? The thrashing? There was
War
only
games.
3, right?
War games.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
just literally combat.
Yeah.
I think because they had to do what is it called, hand to hand?
Yeah, like
hand to hand
hand-to-hand
combat.
Yeah.
Actually, I gotta change
The
my
only
answer.
one
If
that I
Violet
don't
can
think I
make it
could
through, all of us can make it through.
That is a good point,
What?
Trev. If Violet can make it through, we
Yeah.
all can make it through.
It's true.
We just need our Xadens.
That is
Playing
true.
Sam when she gets her shadows.
That is true. Favorite character?
Xaden.
Riddick, maybe? I don't know.
Ooh,
Riddick,
fan.
okay.
But think book one, Trav.
Oh,
He's in book 1.
I just can't stand Xaden. I can't, no.
You don't have to pick Xaden. You can
Well,
pick
oh,
Violet.
book 1 is Liam, I guess, would be the easy answer
Oh,
there.
Liam is the easy answer in book 1. Liam's sweet.
Can we
Liam
say based on where we're at?
Liam was a great guy.
It's not a spoiler at all.
I don't
We say
care.
Based
He-
on where we're at.
Riddick could easily be.
Riddick for where I'm at.
I'm picking Taryn.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I
Now I'm excited.
Or maybe a Darna.
I didn't know we could count dragons here.
They're characters. Remember, it's their story.
yeah.
Ooh.
Changes, but now I gotta think about it.
Honestly, I feel like what could be if they develop it more, Seagal could be my favorite. But I don't know who's my current favorite, but I want to learn so much more about Eric.
They haven't done much with Zagale.
Which
Seagal,
you don't even know
Zagale.
him in book 1, so
Yeah. All right, least favorite character?
Book one, Dane.
Book 1, Dane. Okay.
Jack Barlow.
Isn't his
Oh,
dad?
Jack Barlow. We didn't even talk about Jack
Yeah, we didn't talk
Barlow.
about Jack.
Barlow.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, it's
Jack
definitely
Barlow.
Dane's
Yeah. Oh
How
my
can you
God.
put Dane below Jack Barlow?
Dane's dad, I agree with Trevor.
Ooh, Dane's dad.
Yeah.
Not in book.
Oh, that's book 2. Oh, I have a character I hate in book 2. And I won't go there because that's for next time.
Dane's dad is in
He's
one,
barely in it.
but he sends them to death.
Yeah, I mean, you don't like him in that book.
He sends him
either.
to die, pretty much.
Yeah. I still
Which
don't like
would-
Jack Barlow.
I pick him over Jack Barlow. Jack, whatever his face is.
over Jack.
Jack, whatever.
Yeah. Man.
Taylor, what's your least favorite character? Book 1.
Jack. And book 1. Book 2, it's just.
Okay, what if we took Jack off the table? Because that's just the too easy answer.
I didn't even say that one.
No, you forgot.
If we took Jack off the docket, I don't know, honestly. Some of those asshole professors probably, but I'd forget all their names.
The one
General
that's the
Mulder.
scribe guy. He's annoying.
Yeah, but that doesn't really come into like book 2.
What is that guy's name?
Markham or whatever.
Yeah, Markham.
Yeah.
Definitely don't remember his name.
Yeah. There you go, guys. I'm excited. This is going to be a fun little series. Something different that we're trying. Got the wives on. I appreciate you all being here. Like, comment, subscribe, listen, share with a friend. Read the book. You'll like the book. And yeah, we'll go from there. We'll be back in a couple weeks for part 2 of the podcast. Thank you. Peace.